All right, so I already told you a little bit about the nutrition program here. I'm Jamie Amaro. Thank you all so much for joining this talk about under eating. I do believe that something as fundamental as nutrition should not be complicated. And more specifically, we're going to dive into 3 signs you may be under eating and explain why eating less is not usually the best option for reaching your health and wellness goals. So I had a client tell me about her weight loss journey that has not been successful. And during this conversation, I learned that she has been battling her weight starting in her early teens, like her late teens, early 20s. And which, is sad and because like starting that young. But anyway, she had tried a lot of fad diets, included restrictive eating, counting calories, shakes, anything you can think of. Over the years, her weight has shown some yo-yoing, but ultimately insignificant weight loss. She finally took a big breath after explaining all of those diets. And she asked me, I feel terrible, but I am eating less and doing all the things I have been told to do to lose weight. So why am I still not losing weight? What am I missing? What am I doing wrong? And this frustration in a weight loss journey, it's not unique. This happens all the time because diet culture, it tells us to try all these diets, sometimes even eating as little as 1,000 calories per day. So today I want to walk you through signs that you may not be eating enough and the reason why eating less is not always the best path for reaching your goals. So let's dive in. All right, I want to start by explaining a few basics when it comes to our metabolism or energy balance to help you understand why so many people struggle to lose weight and keep it off whenever they are eating less. So have you heard of the saying calories in versus calories out? This is a general rule that if we take in more energy in the form of calories than we expend, we will gain weight. And the opposite is also true, that if we take in less energy than we expend, we will lose weight. So you may be wondering, if this rule is true, then why is eating less not always the answer? Well, it turns out that many factors influence that simplified equation. And I want to begin by explaining some of the factors that may alter your intake. So first, your appetite. As obvious as it may seem, your appetite is affected by hormones. You have 2 main hormones we will be discussing today, which are called leptin and ghrelin. So leptin is a hormone produced by our fat tissues that signal to our brains that we are feeling full. Ghrelin is released in the stomach, which is called our hunger hormone, to tell us when we are hungry. This is important because when we drastically decrease our calorie intake, it affects our body's hormones. Ghrelin will shoot up, which makes us feel hungry all the time. Think about the last time you were feeling really hungry. So how hard was it to stick to healthy eating and stay away from fast food or treats? While hormones play a big role in influencing intake, there are many other factors, including your environment. For example, studies show people consume more when eating with friends and family than when they're alone. In addition, the taste of the food and the reward of the foods we are eating, as well as our mindset, can influence our intake. So now let's take the time to briefly explain a few factors that may influence our energy output. First, you have your BMR, or your basal metabolic rate, and this is the estimated amount of calories your body needs when at rest to continue the basic needs of living. We also need to take into account the physical activity level, which includes our day-to-day movement, such as grocery shopping, chasing our kids, vacuuming, as well as our CrossFit class and our planned physical activity. And lastly, we want to take into account the thermic effect of food, or how much energy our body needs to break down or metabolize the food that we consume. All right, I have explained why the calories in versus calories out statement isn't as simple as it sounds. So now let's discuss 3 signs that you are under eating, and then we'll talk about why it may not be the answer for you. Number 1, you are constantly hungry. So you start eating less, and now all you can think about is the next time you get to eat. Haven't we all been there? This circles us back to those hormones we briefly discussed. When you eat less, your body signals for an increased release of ghrelin, which makes you feel super hungry. When you feel more hungry, it can lead to increased portions, more frequent snacky handfuls of pantry snacks, and over-consuming sweets. When we finally succumb to those cravings, and this will all lead to a surplus of calories, which will prevent your body from losing weight. We should be eating an amount where we aren't feeling hungry. While a decrease in calories may sound like the answer, the result is always feeling hungry. Choosing more whole food options that provide more volume into your meals and balancing your meals and snacks is a great way to fight that. So one of the easiest ways to start balancing your meals is by reshaping your plate using the plate method. You should fill half of your plate with those non-starchy veggies, 1/4 with protein, and then you also have 1/4 of your plate with those starchy carbohydrates. And then you're going to have your fat. And let's say you have a very lean protein, then you're going to want to sprinkle on more fat, in a way of like an oil, like olive oil or avocado. So here are a few pro tips. Eat your veggies and protein first, leaving your starchy carbs last. Remove distractions such as TV or phones from meal and snack time. Eat mindfully. Set a timer and take 20 minutes to enjoy your meal. Sometimes it takes us a long time to create this wonderful, tasty meal, and we just are stuffing it in our faces. So put your fork down between each bite. Sign number 2 is that you feel moody. So what comes with being hungry all the time? Feeling hangry. And actually in 2018, the word hangry was officially added to the Oxford English Dictionary. It is defined as bad-tempered or irritable as a result of hunger. So you started to eat significantly less. Your body is protesting by increasing the production of ghrelin. And now you may or may not be starting unnecessary fights with friends and family. And this mood shift is a classic sign that you aren't eating the right amount to reach your goals. So what happens that causes us to feel hangry? When we start to eat less, our blood sugar starts to drop. When our blood sugar starts to drop, it triggers a cascade of hormones, including increased cortisol and increased adrenaline. And this happens as a way for your body to fix the low levels of necessary blood sugar, leaving us feeling more agitated. To stop this drop in blood sugar, consider eating smaller, more frequent meals or including balanced snacks in between meal times. We're going to talk more about the balanced snacks in a few minutes, but doing this will help to stabilize your blood sugars and keep you from feeling hangry. All right, the third sign that you're under eating is you have sleep and stress issues. Let's start with sleep. You have likely heard a lot about how sleep deprivation has been found to lead to insulin resistance and weight gain. But did you know that under eating while following strict dietary patterns can also interrupt the quality of sleep? One small study found 10 young women dieting for 4 weeks, and they found that these study participants had difficulty falling asleep and less overall deep sleep. And another study found that the starvation level calorie restriction led to a reduction in slow wave sleep, or that deep sleep that I just mentioned. And this can definitely alter our stress. A large study of more than 2,500 Australian teens found that extreme dieting was not only associated with decreased quality sleep, but also high levels of depression and anxiety, which will alter another important hormone in our health and wellness journey, cortisol. So let's talk a little bit about cortisol. It's often called the stress hormone because it is released in response to stress. Most of us have heard a lot about cortisol when it comes to inhibiting weight loss goals. If you are constantly limiting your intake, which leads to increased stress and lack of sleep, your body's cortisol is very likely to be elevated. Elevated cortisol levels will not only alter your metabolism, but will also cause water retention, which may mask any fat loss occurring. If you have or are experiencing mood shifts, and you have constant feelings of being hungry or sleep and stress issues, you may be eating too little. So let's talk about why it's not always the answer, and usually not the answer when you're eating too little and getting too little of protein. When we undereat, your body doesn't get the energy it needs. Well, initially the body will use fat stores for energy, and that is how people begin to lose weight. But over time, the body will adjust to this chronic calorie deficit, which is undereating, and metabolism will slow. So the body isn't burning energy as efficiently, and then weight loss eventually stops because the metabolism has slowed down. And then it becomes extremely hard to maintain your weight, eating anything more than that set number of calories that your body has adjusted to. Additionally, it also becomes very, very difficult to lose weight despite hard efforts like eating clean and exercising all the time. After hearing this, you may feel like losing weight is a hopeless cause, but that is far from the truth. I encourage you to try thinking about it this way. Rather than focusing on the result of weight loss, focus on the journey of building healthy habits. So rather than focusing on eating fewer calories, focus on eating more whole foods that provide fewer calories than processed foods. Yes, processed foods are more convenient, but those whole foods provide way more vitamins, minerals, phytonutrients, and volume. Rather than getting sucked into fad diets and endless cycles of undereating, find a professional who can be the guide, help you build a plan, and keep you accountable for reaching your goals. And with all this misinformation out there, we know this can feel overwhelming. So to start building your foundation, we've teamed up with Healthy Steps Nutrition, and here are a few of their principles. So number one is adding more whole foods into your diet. Start choosing whole food options and less processed foods packed with sodium, fat, and sugar. A simple way to start this is by reshaping your plate like we talked about for the plate method. Number two is to focus on balance. So when we say balance, we mean does every meal and snack you consume throughout the day contain a carbohydrate, a protein, and a fat? Because pairing each meal and snack with all of these macronutrients, it'll keep you fuller for longer. The third principle is to limit the added sugar. The AHA recommends no more than 6 teaspoons for women and men. And the average person consumes over 150 pounds of sugar per year. That's 46 teaspoons per day. It's not surprising. Sugar is super addicting and feels hidden in almost every food product you find in a package. And so now I just want to answer a few questions that I get asked a lot. And the first one would be about fueling what to eat around the workout, fueling their body to gain muscle, lose fat, and increase energy. So aim to have a healthy carb and protein before and after your workout. If you don't put gas in your car, you wouldn't expect it to get you anywhere. So don't run your body on E. My favorite pre-workout fuel right now is an egg muffin paired with some berries. And after my workout, I love to eat a Perfect Bar with some electrolytes. So they have those regular size Perfect Bars and even snack size Perfect Bars. And then some electrolytes, like I like the ones from LMNT packets. And then another question that people have, they don't like veggies. Well, I want to challenge you and ask, what if you haven't found the way you like them? So roasting your veggies for a nice crunch rather than mushy veggies is an option. adding good seasoning, or my favorite thing to do right now is making a sauce and putting it on top for more flavor so I can enjoy my meal more and look forward to eating. Where should I start? That's a great question. And I want you to start with one thing at a time. Maybe it is something you already have in mind, or maybe it is one of the things we discussed today. But the best and fastest way to reach your goals is to work one-on-one with a nutrition coach to build an individualized plan for you. And if you're looking to break the cycle of eating too little and start building healthy habits for reaching your goals, now is the perfect time to get started. There's always something that will come in the way, so you have to make a commitment to yourself. It's simple, but not easy, and I am here to help you. If you are thinking, this all sounds great, but I don't even know where to start, or I really just need someone to help me create a plan that's realistic for me and someone to keep me accountable, I would love to help you. So our nutrition program here at CrossFit High Tide, it focuses on a habit-based approach to create an individualized plan just for you. I will work with you utilizing our many tools and resources to build your nutrition foundation to create a sustainable plan. Along with our tools and resources, we know how important support and accountability is when it comes to our long-term goals, which is why we will be there to help guide you and tweak you, and I'll help you tweak the plan every step along the way. So the challenge that we have that we're starting, that I'm about to talk more about, HSN has helped over 35,000 people worldwide take control of their health with this challenge. Here are just a few of their success stories. And we are very excited to bring this challenge to CrossFit High Tide. You'll work with me individually to discuss your goals at the beginning, so before the challenge and the end of the challenge. There's group support throughout the challenge to help keep you accountable. I have the link here. I'm going to put it in the chat for you to sign up. But one of the cool things about signing up for the nutrition challenge right now is that we're only going to do it once a year in January, and you can jump right in to the ongoing prices after. And the reason why we can do that is usually there's a 3-month commitment at this higher tier price because, the first few months, there's so much information and time going into it. But if we're already having that pre and post challenge meeting, we already have your baseline, your biometrics. You're able to start at that lower price and jump right into ongoing nutrition where we can continue to build your habits. So I'm going to pull up the chat again, and I want to know what questions you have about either eating too little and under eating, or also what questions you have about the nutrition challenge. So before I do that, remember today we discussed the signs you may be eating too little, as well as why it is not always the answer. And if you're ready to understand the best ways for you to reach your goals, now is the time to take control of your health so we can find those best balanced foods in the right amount.